To those who aren't experienced with it, the LEQ seems intimidating, malevolent, some ominous thing lurking alongside the DBQ in the back of students' minds. Did I get a 6, a 5, or a dreaded 2 or 1? Your own nightmares might be haunted by this monster crawling up from the abyss of College Board, but in this video I hope to cure your fear of LEQs, your fear of long essay questions. First of all, the title is highly misleading. The long essay question is typically shorter than the DBQ and certainly should take less time. Here's the overall goal. Unlike the DBQ, the LEQ does not provide any evidence you must use. Instead, it requires your own historical knowledge and historical thinking skills, HTS for short. You must respond to the prompt with a claim or thesis, and support this thesis with evidence from what you learned in class and reasoning with your HTS. This is essentially the entire essay. So here's the general process. You're given 3 prompts from different time periods, but all with the same HTS. Choose the prompt you're most confident in, ideally the simplest one. Next, you'll want to brainstorm your thesis, how to respond to the prompt. The thesis should have 2 parts, one for each body paragraph, and should demonstrate the historical thinking skill. You must now brainstorm evidence, which you will put into a T-chart to support each part of your thesis. Ideally, you will have around 2 pieces of evidence per part. First, you will need contextualization. Provide an overall historical context relevant to the prompt and your thesis in a few sentences, and then your thesis. You'll write your split complex thesis. In body paragraph 1, you will have a topic sentence, which is one of the sides of your thesis, then your pieces of evidence on that side of the T-chart, along with analysis. In body paragraph 2, you will have the exact same thing, except for the other side of your thesis. And then if you have time, write a conclusion that restates your thesis. The thesis and evidence, as well as support, are the main bulk of your effort on the LEQ. The other points are much more simple. In terms of the thesis, you must answer the prompt. This means you must choose a prompt. As I said, there will be 3 prompts, each from a different time period, but sharing an HTS, historical thinking skill. The HTS are as follows. Causation, how did one thing lead to another? Comparison, how are 2 things similar or different? And continuity or change over time, how did something evolve over time? Causation questions will typically use phrases like, how did this affect? What was a cause, or what were the effects of? For example, in what ways did the age of exploration affect the European economy? Comparison questions are straightforward and ask for similarities or differences. For example, compare the unification of Italy under Cavour and Germany under Bismarck. These questions normally invite you to select either similarities or differences for your response. Continuity or change over time asks for the evolution of an idea, process, or concept. It will ask for how something changed between centuries or how something changed after an event. For example, explain how European perceptions of imperialism changed between the late 19th and mid-20th centuries. Your thesis should demonstrate these HTS by answering the prompt. It will be split into 2 parts, and you will write a body paragraph about each part. For example, for the prompt, in what ways did the age of exploration affect the European economy, we must answer using causation. We'll split it into 2 parts like mini-claims. 1, the rise of consumerism, and 2, the rise of the middle class. Our thesis simply connects these ideas along the lines of reasoning to answer the prompt. The age of exploration affected the European economy by 1, causing the rise of consumerism through increased overseas trade, as well as 2, the rise of the middle class due to the commercial revolution. Notice that the word causing is used. It is clear that we know which HTS the prompts are testing. Your evidence will be specific examples from history that you've learned which support a part of your claim. The evidence is different from the analysis or support. You'll want to introduce your evidence with a phrase such as, for example. When supporting evidence, analyze it, possibly introduce more information, and most importantly, connect it to the prompt. How does this evidence prove your thesis? So here's an example of a well-analyzed piece of evidence. Say a part of your claim is, the Native Americans sometimes dealt with European colonization by cooperating with the Europeans. You could write as your evidence, for example, French colonies traded with natives for local goods such as furs. This alone doesn't prove your claim, so to analyze it, you could explain how this actually dealt with them. By cooperating with this trade, the natives established positive relations with Europeans early on, resulting in less attacks and violence. This is a very concise sentence, but it gets the point across, so no further elaboration is required. Your entire goal in writing this essay is to get as many points out of 6 as possible. Here's the rubric. The contextualization point is easy, just describe what's going on during the time period that's relevant to your argument in a few sentences. The thesis we've already discussed. The evidence, you'll notice, only needs 2 specific examples total. This means that technically you don't even need 2 pieces of evidence per paragraph. It's still good to do so, however, just to make sure that you get the point. The support we also already discussed. The historical reasoning, or the historical thinking skills, is a point that you'll get through your split complex thesis if it answers the prompt using causation, continuity, and change over time, or comparison, and you essentially don't need to worry, as you'll get this point if you execute the other points properly. Then finally, the complexity point. You've likely heard of this point before, but it's completely unnecessary in order to get a 5 on the exam, and due to its mysterious, arcane nature, I won't be explaining it in this video. If your LEQ essay is longer than 2 papers front and back, you're doing something wrong. This is simply a statement of fact. A perfectly written LEQ needs no more than 4 full pages of writing. For many years, concision has dominated the test-taking meta, and this isn't changing anytime soon. The less you write, the more efficiently you can write, and if you learn how to say the same thing in fewer words, you'll be able to finish the LEQ with a much more comfortable amount of time remaining. Before you write a phrase or sentence, think to yourself, is this really important? Would my writing be missing anything without it? Do I need this sentence to get the points on the rubric? And if not, then don't write it. Unlike some subjects, such as AP laying, word choice also does not matter. All that matters is that you meet all the requirements in time. So remember, it's not about the length, it's about getting those points and checking those boxes on the rubric. As always, please like and comment if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.